don't know why this transition has issues, but it does. But we're up now.
What's up, everyone? Episode 33, and this one is titled So What Is Going On? Believe. Yeah, so what is going on? The whole thing went show. And we titled it that, or I titled it that because there's a lot going on in the politics right now, and it seems like no one is really decided, besides a couple people. Some people are saying that they're for vaping, some people are saying they're against it, some people where they're actually getting stuff to where it said where they're saying, hey, well, this is gonna screw up us whenever it comes to voting, so let's just act like we're for it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk some more about flavor bans and all the other states and countries and everything like that are also going through stuff like this. So we're definitely be getting some advocacy topics. So first, Shane, what are you vaping on, man?
All right. Sorry, I was checking stats. I have, first off, my Amit MTL on the Armor Pro. In there, got the Paradigm MTL series of Wickedberry, 12 milligram 50/50. And then the drop, or not the drop dead, the dead goat on the Mr. Just Right Unicorn. In there, I have the 3 milligram version of Paradigm Wickedberry. And let's see, I have my Overlord with the drop dead. And as always, got my Sad Boy Shamrock cookie in that one.
Uh, Gotta have it.
Yep, and the green Tenacious Unicorn. And in there, I have Pango by Transistor. And I also have that same liquid in the intake dual on the Shogun for my joy. And I have the Ohana, or Ohaha, as Mr. Swaggins likes to say, on the Dreamer with the constant contact switch. And in there, hashtag Banana Land, Boule Bolu from Coil Turd. And last but not least, as always, got Big Lunch, the Asgard on the Keen, and still rocking the 12 Monkeys Manga Bees in there. I think that's like the fifth bottle I've gone through that. So, and I've got a Caliburn floating around. It's also got the 12 milligram in there of the Wicked Berry. Well, yeah, that's all I got. Oh, and I'm drinking water with some Propel watermelon.
There you go.
Because regular water sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I like flavors, damn it. I even like flavored water.
There you go. So I have got the M Turk V2 on top of the Tenacious Unicorn. Decided to switch it up a little bit with that DHD Stay Gold chop top. Inside that, I got this pineapple dragon fruit from Guerrilla Warfare. Pretty good. Next, I got the Unicorn V2 RDA. I think it's the Odin or something like that.
Odium.
And Odium, there we go.
Yeah.
And then I got that on top of the vert, so it's nice and flush and looks really nice on there. Inside that, I got some lemon berry. I was liking it when I first got it, and then I let it sit for a little bit, and then now I'm really liking it. So
Yeah, it's
hopefully it
even
stays
better.
that way.
That's the same thing
Yeah,
I did with
I,
mine. When I went through a bottle of that and used about half of it
mm-hmm,
and then went to something else and went back to it maybe a couple of weeks later and I was like, damn, this is even better.
mm-hmm, yeah. And I was surprised. I'm like, man, usually fruit flavors you don't have to let them steep that long or anything, but it's really good that way.
Yeah.
Next, I got the Apocalypse 25 on the Purge stack with the DHD nub tip. I believe this is like the Apocalypse tip, or I can't remember what it's called. I have to look that up because I never remember it, but it's pretty good. I really like the matchy of it, and I got this strawberry frosted flaky pastry from Guerrilla Warfare.
Mm.
This one is really good. It reminds me of the Jam Monster almost, but more flaky pastry, not as much buttery, but it's really good. I've been enjoying it. Next, I got my all day. I got the Barrage from Thesis and Asmodus, and I got that on the Rage Squonker. Decided to pull this thing out, see how this thing squonks, and it's really well, and I've really been liking it. Got Nom's Time 2, the citrus, jackfruit, and mandarin flavor, and this is really good as well. Really been enjoying this. Barrage, probably been my favorite RDA right now. I've been using it every day, and I've been using it on mechs, regulated, been using it on squonkers, and it's just a really good RDA. Next, I got the Blotto with the Inferno tip from DHD. It's a chop top on top of the Red Dreamer. Inside that, I got some more Guerrilla Warfare. The blue sweet agave cactus,
Hmm.
and this is a kind of a weird flavor. It has a little bit of the cactus fruit, but then it also the blue guave almost tastes like a lighter blueberry. Because usually when you have a blueberry flavor, it like overpowers everything, and this one's just like a really light blueberry-ish flavor. And I've really been enjoying it. It's not too bad. And then I got another Apocalypse 25 with a DHD Sparkle Maple drip tip, as Grim says, on top of the NATO. Always gotta have this thing around. Inside that, I got some Sinful Fruit Plasma. But that's all I got. So, first thing I want to bring up is this. Make sure if you're not there, you are supporting it. Either if you're going to be there or not be there. I'm still trying to get there. We're seeing how that's going to work out. But November 9th, from 12 to 4, and just make sure you know where you're going in that. That's in DC. Make sure you that. I believe it's on CASA, and they have multiple ones of it where you can print them out. So anyone needs them, I got like 50 of them right here because I'm still passing them out. But if anyone me up, I'll email it to you or whatever. But if you're not there, like Shane can't be there, try to help support it. Repost it, put it on your story, put it on your feeds, put it on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you can post it, put it there so that way more people can see it, more people can be informed about it.
Mm-hmm.
And even if those people can't go, they can still donate to try to help other people get there or help the people who are getting there. Because
Right.
I know they're trying to help out with, I think they're trying to rent out like a whole hotel to where instead of it being $200 a night, it'll be like $99 a night. So they're trying to do things like that. I'm not too sure about food, but I keep bringing that up. I know whenever you're out there, that's like lunchtime, so they might be trying to get some like Grubhub or Uber Eats over there to where they can just order a whole bunch of McDonald's or whatever's cheap and get it over to everyone, so that way everyone can eat. So that
Mm-hmm.
way no one's sitting there being hangry the whole time. But yeah, there's a lot of things you could do. I believe on Casal they had a thing where it's donate $1 to $10 or something, or you could even up the amount. So I mean, if I can't make it, for sure I'm going to donate to it because this is a great cause and there's a lot of people going to it already. But we need to make sure we're trying to get the information out there as much as possible. And there is an actual link and everything. Shane has it up right there
Yep.
on the board, so make sure you're looking at it. It's passing by right now. But try to be there. If
It
you
was
can't
good
be
timing.
there, oh yeah. But if you can't be there, try to make sure you're helping out at least, whatever you could do. But we need to make sure that we're doing this rally properly. And speaking of the flavor ban and everything in this big rally, there's some word that one of Trump's people that are with him told him, hey man, you might want to push this off to the side for now and just agree with the vapors because voting is coming up and
Mm-hmm.
we don't want you to get put out of office just because of that. So the one thing I see from this is, okay, if you're just gonna do it for that and you're gonna say, okay, yeah, well, we're gonna do it for this and that, but we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna actually agree. You're just gonna say, hey, we're pushing it to the side. We're not even gonna talk about it for a while. Maybe they'll forget about it. We're not gonna forget. I hope he knows that. It's gonna be one of those things where we know that you're just pushing it under the rug so that way you kind of keep us quiet. But as an industry, we're not going to stay quiet. And as consumers, we're not going to stay quiet because we know you're just doing that for votes. Now, if you come out and make a speech saying, or a public thing saying, okay, yeah, we've researched vaping, we understand this, that, and all this other stuff, then yeah, we might be like, okay, yeah, then we can kind of agree with you. but don't go against your word. If you're going to come out with something, come out with something. But if you're just going to sit there and try to push it under the rug to try to get votes,
Yeah, that's not going to work
we're
well.
not stupid.
Yeah.
No, because we're not stupid. What's your opinions on that, Shane?
Yeah, I think if they're going to address it, they need to address it. They don't need to just kind of ignore it and say, okay, we'll look at this later. And just kind of say, okay, well, yeah, we'll just leave it for now. And if they want to do that, come out and say it. Hey, we want to table this so we can do research on it. That would be probably their best option at this point because no one there really has the research needed to make a final decision. And I apologize for the way I'm talking. I'm just now getting over a cold, so I'm still a little sniffly and a little nasally, but we'll get through it. So they need to do their own research, like we've said. I don't know how many times. I mean, it's over and over again the same thing, but they just got to understand that that research has to be done. They can't just base their decisions on somebody else's research. They need to take all the research and compile it and look at it themselves. That's just my opinion on it, but who knows what they're going to do? They are politicians, so they're going to try to appease their constituents, but they also need to do it in the correct way.
Oh yeah, because like I said, if they're just doing this just to get voters and they think that we're not going to remember, and it's just pretty much if you don't come out saying, hey, we're not against or we're not going to do a flavor ban no more, we're totally with vaping, then yeah, we're going to be behind you, we're going to back you up on that. But don't sit there and think that if you just don't talk about it, we're going to forget. Because I'm pretty sure even if you come out and say, hey, there's no need for a rally or anything, we're saying vaping's good, we're still going to be there because we're still going to let you know that we care about it. Because we don't want you to come back a couple weeks later after you win and say, okay, flavor ban, here it comes. And we're going to be like, whoa, 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 what the heck? So
Yeah,
we're
this
definitely going to still be doing this flavor ban and everything, the
the
rally.
rally. The rally is not just for Trump. The rally is to let all of the politicians understand that we're here and
Yep.
we're here to fight. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Yes, it is for the president to be on notice that we are there and that we are protesting. But all the other legislators also need to understand that we're there for them too. And Lord knows I wish I could be there. I have donated to UVA. I will continue to donate to that even after the rally because it's a great cause and those guys can really put forth the effort that a lot of us don't have time to do. They have a lot more.
Yep.
I think they have a lot more people that actually do stuff that have more time than say the layman does. Especially me right now
Yeah.
with a new job and everything else. It makes it really hard for me to actually have time to sit here and do it like I used to because I had a lot more time with my old job.
Yeah. And they've been on top of their. I mean, I don't want to say just them, because I want to give a huge shout out to them and everyone. Angela Garrity over there at Vaping Magazine, they've all been doing a really good job here lately. They've all been kicking ass, and I mean, I've really been enjoying it and liking it because, like me and Shane have been saying, it's crazy how united the vape community has been recently, and I'm loving it. I want to see it stay that way. It's not something to where it's pretty much kind of like this flavor ban hearing or this rally and everything. We don't want it to be one of those things where once it's done, okay, everyone can go back to doing whatever they want. No, we need to still stay on top of this because this is something me and Shane have been preaching for a long time. Even when no one's looking, it's kind of like integrity. Like my definition of integrity is doing the right thing when someone's not looking. So I kind of put that into play with this, and it's not the exact same thing, but you're still doing something even when no one is looking at it or trying to do anything with it. Kind of like Shane, there's nothing going on in his state right now, but he's still trying to fight it, trying to say, hey, well, I call my representative all the time, my governor, because even though they won't release anything saying, hey, well, yeah, he's against vaping or he's with it, they said that they won't release anything until he actually talks about it or he comes out publicly about it. But I can still make my calls. I can still try to schedule appointments with him and everything. So this is something that we need to make sure we're staying together on. Stay united. I mean, hell, even the cloud compers and the trickers and everything, we're being way more united with them now than we ever were. Like the local vape shop I went to, he's a big tricker guy. He knows Vape and Tyler. He knows all of them. They're all in like the same crew or everything. And he's like, I've done some dumb shit in my past. And he's like, I've deleted those videos, but somehow they keep resurfacing. He's like, the thing that makes me mad is everyone wants to get on to me about advocacy, but that's the main thing I post about. He said even on his trick videos, he puts an advocacy thing up at the beginning. He puts a warning, an advocacy thing, and then he does his tricks. And I'm like, that's really cool. I think everyone just needs to leave the past in the past and then move on. If people still don't want to do anything with advocacy, yes, sure, screw them. But like we always say, bring it up, talk about it. After you've talked about it, drop it. Because we don't need to live in the past. We need to live in the present. We need to start focusing on problems we have now. We don't need to focus on, oh, well, this guy came out with this product and he don't do this or that. No, we need to make sure that we are focusing on what is actually going on and what's actually happening. So I always want to bring that up because I think that I believe we're doing way better with that now, and I think that's awesome. But I think we need to make sure we're sticking with that and we're not falling back on old things. We don't need to be like the United States right now where history repeats itself. Vaping does not need to be that way. We can be the people who pretty much sit there and we do what we're supposed to do, and we don't go back to the past. We don't go back to bad labeling. We don't go back to marketing to kids or whatever you want to call it. We don't need to go back to stuff as one, a whole group. That is, I think that we've been more united than even when vaping first came out, and I've been loving it here lately, and it's awesome to see influencers, trickers, vape models actually doing advocacy. There's one I follow who, I mean, I didn't really follow her before until she started doing advocacy stuff. And I even commented on some of her videos, hey, thanks for doing this. This is really awesome to see someone like this do this. And she's messaged me back and forth a couple of times about it. But it's really cool to see them not just do a post, but actually do a video. And it's not a repost. They actually know what they're talking about. And they're going to sit there and talk about it. That's something that I think is really cool. And it's something that I want to keep seeing out there because this isn't something that we need to fight just for us. We need to fight it for other countries too, because like we've talked about, we're the brother country to them. Yep. They look at us as, oh, you're the big bad brother, so we need to make sure we're doing what you're doing. So if we do something and vaping is like looked at across all the whole rest of the world as it's great, we need to put it in hospitals, we need to put it everywhere, we need to use this as a better alternative. If we go back and say, no, vaping's not good, I guarantee you some of those countries are going to start rethinking their things. And that's not good because they have really good research. So we need to make sure that we're also doing this for other countries. And the other countries who are going through the fight like this, like Australia, they're going through a terrible fight right now. And I actually had a guy from Turkey message me the other day. And he was asking me about how stuff was going here. And he was asking about some of the products I use and what they have available there and what we have available here at vape shops. And it was really cool to be able to talk to someone from another country and talk to them about some of these vaping products and talk to them about how they're kind of related to us in it. Now, I don't think they have it as bad as going on, and it's going to go across the world if it sticks with y'all, it's going to go across the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not really good to see it that way.
And I think that's a big fear that other countries are going through, that they're looking at us and saying, uh-oh, how are we going to handle this? Because if they ban it, then they're just going to jump right on the wagon with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a big deal that everybody needs to pay attention to. And that's, we're not just fighting. I'm not just fighting for me. Jay's not just fighting for himself. We're fighting for everybody out there. And the number one person that I believe everyone is fighting for is the smoker that's currently thinking about stopping, that's currently thinking about, hey, is vaping a better alternative? Is it better than smoking? Can it help me stop smoking? We were all that person at one point in time. And I say we didn't have the people that are out there now that we could talk to. You know, you couldn't message Jay or you couldn't message me and ask me any question. Now you can. You know, there's many other people out there. Uh, Matt, Suck My Mod, he's very good at getting back to people through emails and messages and things like that. Grim Green, even Dwayne, you know, throwing out some of the bigger names that are out there. You know,
M Turk,
yeah,
he sets aside a whole day for emails or a couple
right,
hours a day for emails
yeah,
and DMs.
yeah. And I mean, like we were doing, and I still haven't given it away. It's actually still sitting here. This goat. Uh, when we were going to do, or still, we're still going to do that giveaway. We just hadn't. There's been a lot of other things come up, and that's just kind of slid to the side. But you know, when we talked about doing it, I messaged Nick and I said, "Hey, we're talking about doing a giveaway for advocacy on my channel. Is that okay if we do it, considering it's your product?" And he emailed me back the next day and said, "Sure, that's great. Go ahead." You know, and for somebody who does this full time and has multiple shows, has a lot going on, and they're really deep into advocacy, to take the time to email me back is just huge to me.
Yep. Oh yeah. And I just want to give a shout out to all the people you just mentioned too, because they're they're a lot of the people who are at the main of the fight. Like, or if you look at Graham, he hasn't done that many videos this couple last 2 3 months, or since September 11th, I think he said, or September 12th. So about a month and a half. You haven't seen him do many videos because he's been focusing on advocacy, and that's awesome. He's been doing a lot of live streams that are mainly, he says, oh, well, I'm going to try to have fun with them. But if you look at him, 2/3 of it, or a third of it at least, is all advocacy, and most of his shows are about an hour to 2 hours. So I mean, that's just awesome to see someone who makes money off of doing product reviews and gets products in for free and makes the money off of doing the review, not getting the product. I mean, yeah, you get a $200 or $100 product for free, but you're not making the money because you're not sitting there and doing the review for it. He's losing money by doing that. But to me, I think that is awesome. I mean, yeah, it sucks because he's losing money. I don't want to see him lose money. I mean, yeah, he has Patreon and all that, but still, I mean, I'm pretty sure they make a good amount of money off of doing reviews
Yeah,
and bumping up reviews, and companies saying, hey, well, I want this review done in a couple days. And okay, well, it's this much more. They're not worried about that right now. They're not worried about any of that. They're worried about fighting for this industry. And I mean, if the companies can still understand that and say, yeah, well, we're still going to give you the money because we know you're going to do a review later on or whatever, I think that's awesome. But to see them stop doing reviews, and or mainly Grim stop doing reviews and just saying, hey, I'm focusing on advocacy, that's pretty ballsy because that's a lot of his money right there. And I think it's really cool to see him actually do that and say, you know what, let's just stop doing reviews. Let's focus on this. Let's focus on fighting for it, so that way I could continue doing reviews later on down the road
right.
and actually seeing the full picture instead of just seeing what's happening right now. I mean, I'm not telling any other reviewer to go out there and stop doing reviews and everything, but I just think that someone who's spending that much time, like he says, I wake up, I'm on Twitter. I wake up, I'm emailing, calling, or that's all I'm doing throughout the day is email, call, Twitter, email, call, Twitter. I think that's awesome because that means he's really looking at the bigger picture and not just looking at what's in front of him right now and everything like that. So I mean, he's putting the industry before he's putting himself, and I wish a lot more companies would do that. And I've
Yeah,
seen a good amount of companies start doing that. They've started donating to the VTA. They started joining the VTA. They started donating to CASA, the UVA, and places like that. I think it's really awesome to see bigger companies start doing that. And I mean, it's awesome, especially the companies from China, because if you look at it, they're like, I mean, whatever, we're still gonna be able to make our products. But I think they started to recognize the U.S. takes a big amount of our profits,
yeah,
so
almost
maybe we
forty
should really
percent.
look into it. Yeah, so they're starting to notice it. Say, you know what? Let's stop. Let's start donating some people to actually help them out, so that way it can help us in the long run. Because I mean, if you think about it, it's really going to help them in the long run. They're going to be able to make more money. So it's something that needs to be done. It's just a matter of time before a company realizes it. And I'm glad a couple companies are actually starting to realize it, because if not, then they're not going to be making money off of products or product reviews later on down the road. Or there's going to be no need for product reviews. Say, hey, well, you can get it from Joe Blow over here on the black market.
Yeah.
This new purge mod, or is this new mod from Times Vape, but you're gonna have to get it through the black market because you're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna be able to get it from other places. I
Yep.
mean, it's gonna have to. I'm glad that they're seeing that. Hey, this is really gonna suck if this goes through. So we need to start focusing on more things. And like I said, it's just really awesome seeing some bigger companies like Vapetasia was, I don't want to say one of the first, but one of the first bigger e-liquid companies to actually start doing advocacy and sending out advocacy emails, kicking ass on it. So I want to thank them, like Prohibition, Rescued E-Liquid, people like that. They've really been taking the time to actually travel to these flavor ban hearings and do their part. And I don't know if they're paying their people to go to them, but they're having a lot of their people go to them. Like I've seen Irby and AJ, they've been going to a lot of them with Prohibition, but like I said, I don't know if they're getting paid to do it, but they're there. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if you're getting paid or not to be there. As long as you're there and you're letting them hear your story, that's
Yep.
awesome.
And then a lot of the bigger reviewers now are actually taking time out of. They're still doing reviews, but they're taking time out of that video to point out advocacy, and
Mm-hmm.
post advocacy links, and throw up a picture of the flyer
Yeah.
for the rally and things like that. So I understand Grimm stopped doing it simply because that's his main focus, but then we can't leave out the other people that are taking time to put focus towards it, but still giving reviews
Yeah. Yeah.
also. So, and that was
Definitely.
impressive to me. Honestly, it should have been done a long time ago, but we're not,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, we're not in the past, we're in the now, and it's great that they're actually taking the time to do it now.
And I mean, hell, even some reviewers that have live streams, they're starting to do advocacy based live streams
Mm-hmm.
with other people or with themselves. I mean, it like we said, it should have happened in the past, but we can't live in the past. So, I mean, it's just awesome to at least see it now. And I hope even after, like I said, after all of this passes by and they say, okay, well, here's your regulations. They're reasonable. Y'all are okay with them. We're okay with them. This is what we're going to do moving forward. I mean, as long as they keep doing it, even like Bogan, he does it at the beginning or at the end of his videos, or no, it's at the beginning. He does his beer, and then he does at least 1 to 3 to 5 minutes of advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
That's badass. And I mean, someone who's not even from the States, usually talking about the States because he knows where his platform's going to. He knows who watches a lot of his videos. I mean, he even talks about other countries too. So I mean, it's just really good to see reviewers actually care about it. And the ones who cared about it before, I want to give them a huge round of applause. But the ones who are caring about it now, I'm really grateful to see you doing it, because you started noticing, hey, I have a huge platform who could reach out to a lot of people about the awareness of this. That's the main thing we need to do, is not really, hey, well, we need you to talk about what your views are on it. We need to get people more aware of this flavor ban rally, and we need to get more people aware of the true news, not all this fake news stuff. Kind of like Fox 4, what they did the other day. They on the bottom, like the little ticker we have right here, they had one going along and it said, oh, 34 deaths have been confirmed from vaping and 1,000 somewhat other cases of people who've been injured from it. It's like, I even tweeted, I'm like, really? Can y'all like stop with the fake news? And someone who I don't think had anything to do with vaping is like, I don't think they know what real news is. So there's other people out there who see this and they're like, you know what? Yeah, I understand the world is a little bit corrupt.
Yeah. And I mean, we're getting a lot of the people that,
But there's been a lot going on with that.
yeah, there's a lot of people that understand that it's not just our industry that is being promoted through this fake news, or however, you want to interpret that. There's a lot of things out there that are reported under that fake news, and I think they're getting more notice now, simply because of us. We're a very large community. I mean, 10 to 13 million people estimated. Some of the other, I can't think of any of the other things right now, but there's other things out there that are under that same umbrella of reported fake news. And I think, like I said, they're on our side because now they're getting more notice and they're getting more traction on their discussions and things simply because of the large vaping community. And that's awesome. That we
Mm-hmm.
can help people out, while helping ourselves.
Yep. And we're getting a lot of people out there who just care about freedom, care about having your rights. There's a lot of people out there who are just fighting. They're not even vapors. They don't even give a shit about vaping. They don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's healthier. They're like, oh, that's cool, that's good, but they don't care about it. They're just like, hey, well, they're trying to take away freedoms from this. What are they going to do next? They're seeing a big picture of it. So I mean, that's really awesome to see that other people are actually out there saying, you know what, we see the big picture and what y'all are fighting for. Y'all aren't just fighting for vaping, y'all are fighting for just human rights in general. And I love to see that other people are seeing this and they're saying, you know what, yeah, that they are trying to screw with our rights. What are they going to try next?
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who are worried about gun laws are also going to be doing this because
Yeah.
they're like, hey, well, you start screwing with one thing Trump said in Texas. I watched a little bit of the little rally thing that was on the news, and he said, "Oh, they're here. Everyone's trying to take away y'all's guns. I'll make sure that doesn't happen." I mean, that's always a big topic, no matter what state it is, no matter what they're running for. That's always one of the main topics is gun laws
Yeah. The
because
NRA.
some states want yeah, some states want really strict ones. Some states want, hey, I want you to have your freedoms. You can have your guns. You can have whatever guns you want, as long as they're not like heavy machine guns, and you're gonna go out there and use it for something else.
Right.
But I mean, it's a crazy world out there right now. I mean, hell, even I watch the news. I rarely watch the news, so all this is coming off of what I watched the news on the other day. But there was a kid who was in Oregon, and he walked into his school with a shotgun. I mean, the world is pretty crazy out there. So
Mm-hmm.
we got to make sure we're fighting to keep our rights, just to keep it away from people who are doing crazy, dumb stuff. We got to let them know that we're not within that 1%. That's like when we talk about with vaping, the appealing to kids or the marketing to kids. Most of the industry is not within that 1%. So we don't need to worry about that 1%. We need to say, hey, yeah, we do need to regulate to where it does have laws to where you can't do stuff that 1% is doing. But we're not fighting for that 1%. We're fighting for vaping in general
Right.
and human rights in general, like I said.
And they go with laws because they think it's going to make a difference. Uh, the 21 law, take it to alcohol. How many of us drank before we were 21? I know I did. Just about everybody I know did. And it's one of those
Yeah.
things that, you have to, you can't expect it to work perfectly. You want it to, but it's not going to. And that's the reality of it. They took alcohol and they said, okay, we're not going to sell it to anybody over the age of 21, and they left it alone. And still, you have, I would say it might be 95, well, 90 to 95% works, But kids under the age of 21 are still going to get alcohol if they want it. They're going to find a way to get alcohol if they want it. And it's going to work the same way with vaping. You can put that at 21 or older, but they're going to find a way. The same way they do with alcohol. There's no way you can expect 100% perfection on that because it's just not going to happen. I told my people the other day, and I think it was Vince Lombardi said, I can't expect perfection, but I can expect you to chase perfection. And when you chase perfection, you achieve excellence. And
Mm-hmm.
if you really think about that, they put the law in place. You have the people that say, I want to be perfect on this law. And those people are 100%. But then you have the people that say, well, you're 20, you'll be 21 next week, it's okay. Those are the people that we have to worry about. Those are the
Yeah.
people that need an adjustment, and they need to understand that the fines need to be larger. The repercussions need to be a lot harder than what they are now. You sell to a minor, you get a $300 fine. That's you're gonna sell three mods and make your money back. It might take you a week, but you're gonna make your money back. And you stick them with a $10,000 fine, then it's gonna hurt, especially if it's a mom and pop and not a chain. Chain store, they'll shut it down and move it to one town over and open it right back up and be like, well, that wasn't this store, we don't get a fine. Uh, that happens a lot with other things, head shops, tobacco shops, things like that. They'll move it to another town and go under the same name, but they're getting a business license from a different place. So that fine is null and void at that point. Well, they won't have to pay it.
Yeah.
They'll end up having to pay it, but not at this point. They'll end up, over time having to pay it. But that's one thing we need to focus on is that small percentage that isn't chasing perfection. And
Yep. And
go ahead.
oh, and I was gonna talk, or no, you can go ahead and finish. 'Cause I was gonna bring up another topic.
Oh, okay. But yeah, those are the people we have to worry about. And if we in the vaping community hold these brick and mortars accountable, I think it'll make a difference.
Hmm.
If you're in a brick and mortar and somebody goes up in front of you and they look underage and the guy doesn't check their ID, ask him about it. Hey, are you not checking IDs? It's not going to hurt
Hmm.
anything. If you don't get to buy something from there simply because they say, well, get all pissy about it and make you leave, then that's not a place you want to buy from anyway. If they check everybody's IDs, then they shouldn't have a problem checking everybody's IDs. And that's my opinion on it.
Hmm.
I'm been known to be an asshole, but I'm just straightforward about it and just kind of blunt. You you can't beat around the bush and say, well, you shouldn't really do that. You can't be that parent. You know, don't do that. It's okay this time, but don't do it again. No, you were wrong. Here's your punishment, and move on.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter if you're in that store and they don't do it correctly. You need to point it out. That's your responsibility. Being part of the vaping community is holding each person accountable for things that they do correct and things that they do incorrectly. If they are doing it correctly, make sure you thank them. Saying a thank you to somebody is huge, especially with me. And that's what I tell all of my people. If I tell you thank you, you're doing your job right. So,
Yep.
and that's rant over.
So, I believe I saw that wasn't it Massachusetts? They get to start selling again,
Yes.
uh, like Monday
Yeah, I think it's
or
Monday.
something like that. So, so what are your? I want to talk about my thoughts too, but what are your thoughts on all these flavor band and vaping bans getting pulled from the states whenever they tried to do the little loophole and go straight to, oh, it's emergency thing, it's emergency, it's emergency. What are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, to me, it's awesome to see that it's getting pulled and that people who have the rights to do it are calling the states out and the governors out on their BS. I mean,
Hmm.
I love seeing that. I love seeing that they're getting their stuff pulled because they try to do a loophole. They tried to be sneaky with it, and when they
Hmm.
did, it came back and bit them on the butt. So I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's really great to see, but the hard part is going to be these people that have already sold all of their inventory. Uh, they might have
Mm-hmm.
sold it to a shop. I know, like Nick Daily Vape TV, they have a shop on one line or on one side of the line in Massachusetts, and there's a shop right on the other side in Connecticut. So it won't be hard for them.
Yep.
But then you think about those little mom and pop shops that did 75, 80, 90% off, and they just sold it just to make their money back on what they had in inventory. And everything they still had left, I don't know if they closed it, if they took it home, if it's still there in the shop. Uh, you know, they're already unless they had their savings plan in place, with 3 to 6 months worth of bills, which I hope a lot of people do that. I don't can't say that everybody does it, but they should. But it's tough because I don't know if they're going to be behind, if they're still okay, if they can open their shop back up, if the name is so damaged now. That's the other thing. They can go back and
Yeah.
sue them again for saying you've damaged our profitability now simply because all the uh, I don't know if it's really defamation or slander or libel, but it's one of those three
Yeah.
of vaping. You know defamation of character on vaping now has hurt my business so much that I may not be able to open my business back up. And that will be the really eye opening thing for the states that have done this. Massachusetts, the Oregon one went through and then immediately went on hold, but then Michigan,
Yeah.
New York. I think those are going to be the big three that are going to really set the example for all of these other states that are on the fence. I know I saw something about Maryland is drafting a ban. Uh, I think they just probably need to stop and wait till all this stuff irons itself out before anybody else does anything, simply because the not just the protection of the vape shops, but the protection of the government. Think about how much
Hmm.
money that state could be out, and that money could go to so much more than paying off a court case where a shop has sued you because you've cost them their business. That money could go uh, to children that are orphans, or
Hmm.
not necessarily welfare people, but people that are trying but still need that help. There's so
Yeah.
many other things that money could have gone to, or depending on what the shops do. But my thought is that it's great that it's being repealed and pulled back, and kind of thrown in their face, "Hey, you can't do this. You're hurting business." Uh, but I don't know how far they're willing to take it, and I hope they take it honestly as far as they can from the shop side, because they shouldn't have been closed in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see it pretty much the same way you do. I mean, it does suck because I know like the shop in Venus right here down the road from me, they would be one of those shops where it'd be one of the things where they would have lost a lot of business, and they probably would have done the same big sale, and a lot of shops around here probably would have too, because there's not a I know of one, maybe two, like actual chain shops in Texas, and there are more around me. And I think that a lot of the shops would have done like a lot of those would have, the small brick and mortars, where they would have just said, "Hey, well, shit, we ain't got nothing else to do. We only got a couple hours or a day or two to do this, so let's just go ahead and let's sell everything out for what we bought it at, so that way we can at least make our money back and not be in the hole too much." And I it does suck because I know a lot of them are going to suffer from this, and a lot of them are going to be hurting from this. But like a lot of people said, try to find something. If you have a little bit of extra money out there, try to take away all the vaping stuff. Don't sell it at wholesale cost. Put it in a storage unit, and then just try to keep your shop afloat doing something else. Hell, selling containers, selling cooking ware, selling something, wherever you can buy for cheap, to kind of, they didn't have that kind of money saved because they were doing this living paycheck to paycheck through it. Because I mean, I don't know how much they make, but there's some shops that probably don't make a whole lot. So I mean, I just hope that a lot of people didn't have to go against their lease and do all this other stuff, because it really sucks. And like I've said, in my town, the a lot of people rely on this shop. They don't want to go to the next town over or go to the big town of Arlington or Fort Worth or Dallas to get their liquids.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go to this little small town because they cater to the people. If you want a 1 milligram, if you want a 22 milligram, if you want a 7 milligram of nicotine, you can
Mm-hmm.
get it at that shop. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like to say it, but they hand make their liquids. I don't want to call them a bathtub company or a bathtub liquid. I want to call it handmade liquids because that's what they do. They make them handmade and they make them right there in front of you so that way you know what's going into it. And they also do it so that way they can cater to their people. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want to have it pre-bottled. And I mean, whenever I'm amazing, they have some really good ones, but it's just it sucks to see the small mom and pop shops. And I guess it really hits me in the heart because of what my shop is like. The shop that is right down the road that got me started on vaping, that got me started to get away from combustibles and chewing tobacco and stuff like that. They're the ones who really helped me. And I really like that they stayed open and they didn't kind of say, oh, well, crap, nothing's in Texas yet. We need to do something. We need to get rid of all of our stuff. We're going to see how far this really goes. And they were the type of people who were ready to rebel against what the government said. Now, I know that's not very great, but they were saying customers, these people need it. They weren't saying it as, hey, well, we need the money. They're saying these people need this product to stay healthy, to stay from I don't want to say what I'm gonna say, but to stay away from going back to combustibles or having a mental breakdown because they don't have their nicotine and they
Mm-hmm.
start getting pissy at everyone. They saw it as that. They saw it as a health reason. They didn't see it as, oh well, crap, we're not going to make our money. That was the last thing that came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
First thing that came out of his mouth is, hey, even if they come by and they say that you have to have everything approved by the FDA and it has to go through and you can't make it in house and it has to be made in the lab, he's like, we can't afford that. So we're going to find one way or another to be able to do this. He said, if it's us making it at our house or if it's us doing it somewhere else or if it's us having to get a loan to be able to make it through a lab and we can add some stuff here. He said, hey, that's what we're going to have to do. He's like,
Yeah.
but we're going to make sure we can still service our customers. And I
Yep.
really like that he said that because it made it seem like they were really in it for the customers and not in it for the money. They're in it for the health reasons. Because they want to see people go off this. Because I mean, if it's a mom and pop shop, most times because they found this, it helped them, and they said, you know, we can make a little bit of money while we're helping people. I mean, if you go up there right now, it's always regulars in there, and every time there's someone who's not a regular who comes in, it's kind of crazy. It's like, oh hey, what's up? And then everyone tries to help them. Even the people who are even people who don't work there, they're like, yeah, man, try this flavor, try this flavor, try that flavor. Here, man,
Yeah.
their house juice is amazing. Whatever you need, they can get it ordered for you. And I mean, it's the truth. Anyone and everyone who goes in there and stays in there, they do kind of what I do. If they're having a big sale, a couple of us will go up there and we'll try to help them out. We'll sit there, we'll take down the orders, we'll write it on the little dry erase board, and we'll hand it over, and we'll just keep doing that because they have when their sale is every flavor is the deal of the day. They get slammed with people, and
Mm-hmm.
it's regulars, people who aren't regulars, because they post it on Facebook. Hey, the deal of the day is this, and bam, people come in there, and
Right.
it's crazy because I mean, how much business they get on days like that, and they only really like to do it on holidays, but they get a lot, pretty big turnout from it, and it's just really cool to see people who aren't in the actual shop making money help them out, and it kind of makes me feel like whenever I got into this vaping advocacy stuff, I was more used to that shop. So I was more used to everyone being unified and everyone being friends with everyone. And coming from a small town too. I'm from a really small town, just like Shane.
Yep.
And everyone here is unified. Everyone here knows everyone. If you
Mm-hmm.
drive past someone and they don't even, hell, half the people who I drive past, they don't even know me. They just wave because they've recognized
Yeah.
my truck or they've recognized what vehicle I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, even in the vape shop, everyone, hey, how you doing, Jay? How you doing, Jay? You putting up a new video? How you doing? Everyone knows everyone, and everyone knows what everyone's doing. And yeah, sometimes it gets annoying, but for the most part, it's really cool to be in a small town and have that small town vibe and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And it's the same thing inside that shop. Everyone there knows everyone. Everyone there wants to greet everyone. Everyone there wants to be friends with everyone. It's not like how the vape industry was, whereas MTLs, direct lung, RDAs, RTAs, and everyone arguing about everything. This guy's a tricker. This guy is a cloud comp. This guy's an advocate. This guy's a reviewer. Over in my vape shop, it was everyone is everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone vapes. That's all cared. That's all we mattered or we cared about.
Yeah.
And hell, we because they used to have a sign outside that says, "Hey, come get this safe." Or I don't think they put healthier alternative. I can't remember what they had. They had something on there where it said vape shop open, and it said something about being a better alternative to combustibles.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Well, we pulled it down because they said it's $120 a month or something like that." We actually got with them, and we were going to start like a fundraiser to where every month they could have that $120 instead of them having to pay out of their pockets. So that way we could have another sign out there to let everyone know that, hey, there is a vape shop right here next to the insurance place in the same building. So, I mean, it's we're more unified, and I feel like that's how the vape community is now. But whenever I got into it, I was kind of like, man, why is everyone bitching at everyone? Everyone hates everyone. What's the deal with this?
Yeah.
Now I eventually realized, okay, it's not the same as the small town. And then when I go to bigger town places or bigger town vape shops, I see it. There's people there who are just sit off to the side, and there's people there who are off to this side, and they all hang out, but they don't sit next to each other. It's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
I never really understood it because, and there's another shop down the road where they have a TV, a PlayStation, they have couches, and you can go in there and play games and stuff, and it's really cool. And they have their dog walk around every now and then. They don't sell house liquids; everything's pre-bottled, but they have a dog that they bring in there every now and then. I think it's one of the owner's dogs, and I mean it's just more of a small town atmosphere. And when I got into all this advocacy thing, like I said, it didn't feel like this, and now it's starting to feel more like this, where everyone knows everyone, everyone's saying hi to everyone, everyone's like, "Hey man, great job, keep it up!" Like.
Yeah.
M Turk and Chloe and AJ and Irby and all of them. I post something on Instagram about it, or even Addie Tooney and Om Life Buck. I post something on Instagram. They're like, "Hey man, great job, keep it up." Or they'll send me one of their posts. "Hey, could you repost this?" Or "Hey, what do you think about this post?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's really cool," and I'll repost it or I'll do whatever. But I mean, it seems like everyone's more unified now, and I'm loving it. I just hope it stays that way and stays the small town feel, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and then there's other ways that certain shops, and I'm not going to mention any names, that are kind of getting around their flavor ban. The ban was put in place for flavored nicotine e-liquid, and that's the reason. That's the way it's exactly written. So that's something that shops can look into. I don't know if it would be any cheaper just having the flavor shots done in a lab without the nicotine, without the PG or VG, and then buying unflavored PG VG and setting it up there. You want a 3 milligram? The bottles are right here. You want this flavor? Okay, we only have the flavor shot. I can't do it for you, but here, if you buy this bottle of PG VG, I give you the flavor shot with it for free. That's kind of how some shops are getting around the so-called flavor ban, simply because they're not selling the flavor; they're just selling PG and VG. There you go. And I mean that's something that a lot of the smaller shops could look into, because I think the cost is it could be different. I don't know for sure. It could be different, and that's something that could be a lower cost option for a lot of these little mom and pop shops to get from this lab. And I don't know what lab you would use. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say Scott Zegans has some connections with labs, and I'm not sure if Paradigm has connections with labs, but they're big in the southeast, and they're not really big anywhere else, and I haven't figured it out because their e-liquid line is fabulous, everything I've had from them. But I think that would be something that'd be great for these smaller places to get into.
Yeah. And I've talked to a couple shops around here. I know some people don't like us talking about loopholes.
Yeah.
But that's one to be able to get into the lab, to be able to get to where it's okay, well, you're not frowned upon no more. You're just looking there, so you're doing it. You're at least attempting. And I mean, it's great to see that. Or I mean, I've even seen it where they've done it to where it has a PG, VG, and flavoring. You just add the nicotine in there.
Mm-hmm.
And if they
Just
want a lower PG or VG level, you just add whatever nicotine, the PG nicotine or the VG nicotine.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's ways to do it, and I've seen shops already start with those loopholes, but it's just I don't want to be able to. I don't want to get to the point to where it's like that because then you. I mean, yeah, it's great that we're doing that, and it's great that we can find a loophole to get to the customer to still want it, but you got to think about the 70-year-old lady who I'm helping out right now, or 65-year-old lady I'm helping a week. Say, hey, here's something I don't like. Here, try it. Tell me if you like it. She's like, yeah, I love it. Something like this, if I gave it to her, or if she started ordering her own, and she's like, Jay, what do I do with this? Oh, you gotta take off this. You gotta pop this top off without breaking it, because if you break it, you're screwed. And
Yeah.
then you gotta pour that other liquid in there. And then if you had a nicotine one, if it's not the right nicotine, you gotta pour some more nicotine in there. And then you gotta worry about wearing gloves. And then you gotta close it up, shake it up, and you gotta let it sit for a little bit, or just shake it. Go. I mean, it's one for us, and we'll get through kind of like the UK did, but it's gonna be something that's gonna make it more unappealing for the new vapors. That's why we want to make it as easy as possible for the new vapors. That's
Right.
why we don't want to get. Well, I mean, some of us don't want to get nicotine products like vaping out of convenience stores because we want it to sit up there next to the cigarettes. We want it to sit up there and say, "Hey, we're here. You can buy us, or you can buy this stuff that's killing you.
Mm-hmm.
You pick. You pick which one you want to buy.
Yeah.
You want to buy a Juul or Enjoy Ace, or you want to buy this or that, or do you want to buy this thing that's killing you?" We want that to be in those stores, so that way it's like, hey, you have an option. You have a choice. It's your choice, not our choice.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the only reason why I still want vaping in convenience stores. But then again, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather it be in vape shops. But then you got this. You have some places where vape shops aren't around for 200, or I mean, yeah, 200 miles or 2 hours or something like that. So I mean, we got to look at it as both ways. But eventually, one day, we're going to have to go to a regulation to where we're going to have to figure out which one works best. And I mean, once those regulations come around, I mean, I know it's not going to be like a multiple choice answer. Hey, which one's best for y'all? Y'all pick. It's going to be like, hey, is this one good enough for y'all? And if we fight against it, they're going to say, okay, maybe we should try something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to keep going like that. So, but yeah, I mean, it is good that the shops and everyone is actually looking into the actual documents and saying, hey, we found something here we could do to where we could loop around it. Kind of like what they did. They looped around the BS with the emergency state thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that we can still keep vape shops more informed like this, to where they're saying, hey, let's just not shut down. Let's just look at the paperwork and let's see where we can find where we could still do something to have our products out there. And that's really cool to see. But
Yeah.
then, I know for like a big company like Transistor or Vapetasia or Guerrilla Warfare and places like that, it's going to be hard for them because they're not preparing for that. They're still bottling their stuff at 3, 6, and whatever, and 0. We got to think about it for them too. Of okay, well, if stock are they going to be sitting on? Yeah, they might be preparing for it. They might be 6, or it's only make 0 milligram, and then as people order, we'll start dumping in the nicotine, so that way we're not too far behind on everything. But then it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be, well, what if it just comes out one day? Hey, no more nicotine. You have to do nic shots, or you have to do flavor shots. How much stock are those companies going to be sitting on that they're going to have to pretty much throw away unless they give them like a grace period of, okay, sell out the rest of your stuff and then we'll start doing it. which I hope they do. And that's one thing that we should fight for also, to be put in a bill like that whenever regulations do come out, if it is something like that. But to me, the best regulation I think is a damn nicotine cap. That's one of the things I think is the best regulation.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's going to be our it's going to be kind of a bargaining chip that we have, because, and I understand that a lot of the converting smokers will want to use something that's high, like that 50 milligram salt nic, but they, like a hardcore smoker, they'll want that throat hit, and to me, 50 milligrams is just way too much. Even when I tried it converting, a
Mm-hmm.
25 was okay. It still had a good little punch on the throat, uh, but so does a 12 milligram.
Yeah.
I've been salt free now for weeks, and it doesn't affect me any. I get great flavor out of this 12 milligram 50/50 from Paradigm. You can get any of their flavors in 12 milligram. And they were talking in the chat about DIY. If you do DIY, you can do any milligram that you want. You can have a,
Mm-hmm.
you know, say you try a 16 and it's a little too much, but then a 12 is not enough. You can mix it where you have a 12.5, a 13, a 14.5, anywhere in there. And that's where a lot of these, like Jay's shop close to him, they'll mix it from 22 to 1.5, or even 1 milligram, which
And that's
is,
like this right here. This is a 10 milligram
yeah.
they mixed for me right away.
And that, I think that makes a big difference with people. But if they do a cap, say they cap it at 24 or 25 milligrams, a 25 milligram salt nic will help a converting smoker. A 16 milligram freebase will help a converting smoker. It's just all about the education that the people are given at the time when they're in there in the vape shop, because that's where they're going to go. They're not going to go online. If they know somebody that vapes, they'll talk to them, and then they'll go to a brick and mortar to try to get a a device to help them quit smoking. So if the people at the vape shop will
Mm-hmm.
let them know, hey, an 18 milligram is freebase is pretty much on par with a 50 milligram salt nic, but this is actually better because you can take this 18 and go to 16 and then go to 14, 12, 9, 3, 6, however uh, you want to do. Uh, but a 12 milligram freebase, conventional, however you want to say it, Angel. Angel just posted salt or conventional. Oh my God, 12 milligram. But yeah, 12 milligram in a 50/50 gives a decent throat hit. It's a you don't want to use it in something sub ohm. I mean, I've got it in. This is a 1.18, and I'm rocking it at 4.75 watts or 4.75 volts, because I just wanted to try that in volts rather than watts. But that's normally anywhere from 13 to 18 watts is what I run that 12 milligram on. So, I mean, it's not something you're going to get big clouds off of. But if you're a converting smoker, that's not really what you're looking for. I started out on something like that. Actually, it's right here. I've showed it a few times. The little Kangertech Evod with the Jenny tank on top. Uh, I've tried. That's actually what I started on, and then got into more different sub ohm, and now I'm mech heavy, just simply because I've gotten to the point where, and I know Jay's the same way, the density of the vapor is giving me more satisfaction than the amount of the nicotine. And I think once people get to that, then they can really start dropping their nicotine. I haven't, simply because I enjoy the nicotine, and that's, it's different for everybody. I know a lot of people that just strictly vape zero, and that's how they vape. They just vape for the enjoyment of it. And to each his own. Okay. Yes, Angel, like a pod, but this is just a MTL RTA.
Yeah.
So it's got a little fuse, stainless steel fuse Clapton in there. It probably won't ever focus on that, but it's 1.10. So yeah, I would never run anything 12 milligram on say this. That would absolutely kill you.
Oh yeah,
And I know
I've
people.
done that my first RDA.
I know people that can do it though. They can do a 6 or a 9 milligram in an RDA, and I'm like, holy shit, your throat just must be like iron. Uh, I don't see how they do it. I think Charlie Vape Labs when he was on, never heard of them. He was running 6 milligram in a stack, which is just insane. And I think they pretty much
Oh.
just they gonged the shit out of him on that show. So he was Nick sick probably for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Angel said I was thinking 12 milligram in an
Yeah.
RDA. So
Hell no.
no,
But that's like this. I got some solids right here, and these are a 30 and a 24. I mean, they've been sitting here for quite a while. I haven't used them. I mean, this one I don't even think is really not even half a bottle gone. That's
yeah,
because I gave some of it to someone. This one I actually enjoyed, and I just got off of salts and I just stopped using it. But I mean, I even still like a 50 milligram salt. I would not go buy. I
mm-mm.
like it would be like they're like, oh, all we have is 50. Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah,
Could you order some 24? And yeah, we'll get you some 24. But I mean, like this right here, this is a 10 milligram free base, traditional, whatever you want to call it,
mm-hmm.
peanut butter cookie from my local shop, and they made it for me right there, and I love it. And I mean, it's awesome to have that freedom to be able to do that.
Right.
But one of the things I was thinking of as you were talking was, what if that was something that we had was a nicotine cap? And as a nicotine cap, because you know how they say, okay, well, we want you to be able to step down people. So what's your step down plan? How do you plan on stepping people down? What if that's one of the things we can bring up is doing Nick shots? So that way a company never gets screwed. They always make everything at a zero, and they have 20 to 1 milligram, and they have it in increments of 1 or 2 or whatever they want to have, just of Nick shots. I think that would be a really good thing that we could propose as an industry, saying, "Hey, well, if we're going to do stuff like the UK, I mean, let's not do the TPD stuff where you can only have a 2 milligram tank thing, but let's do Nick shots because then it's easier to step people down because they can order what size nicotine they want without us having to make big bottles of it. And to be able to get a 1.5, you have to buy a 0 and a 6 or a 0 and a 3 and dump them into each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a really cool thing to do. Would be just having strictly have it to where you make everything at a 0, and then you sell them the Nick shot with it, and you can get anywhere from a 20 to whatever. And I mean, make the prices for the nicotine a little higher for the 20. When you get down to 1, it's lower price. But I think that's something that'd be really cool, and that'd be something that we could propose, because I know it's something that a lot of the people were talking about was, oh, well, all y'all have is 50. All y'all have is 50, because they're looking at the pod systems. They're not looking at anything else. They're looking at the closed pod devices, 50 to 60 milligrams, whatever. I think that'd be something that'd be really cool to propose to industry or to some manufacturers, to be as, this is what we can do to make it to where people can have a choice to step down. We have 20, 19, 18, all the way through 1, and you just buy your bottle of liquid and you buy your nicotine and you just pour it in there. I think that's something to be great to have as a proposal to the government, saying, hey, well, this is something we could do as a whole. Everyone can do it, because I mean, making 0 milligram would be easier for everyone instead of making all these other ones. And I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to be able to add it in there, because I know there's certain bottles that, I mean, some people might have to change their packaging and stuff, because there's certain bottles that are easier to take off for that reason. So I think that's something that we could maybe look into. And like I've said before, though, it'd be kind of hard for the new person, but it'd be something that we would have to get used to, kind of like the people across the pond were in the UK. That's something that they did. And they said, yeah, at the beginning, it was a pain in the ass. We tried to fight it. And then we're just like, you know what? It's not that bad. I think that's something we could do here. Or, like you said, the nicotine or the flavor shots inside of whatever nicotine bottles you want.
Right.
I think either one of those would be a good way to show that we do have a step down process. Because if they look at the pod devices, like we've said, it's kind of hard to show them that you have a step down product whenever all you sell is the 40 or 50 to me.
Right. And I'm looking on. I got went down this rabbit hole here real quick. I'm gonna post this in the chat. If you go to this Sapphire Nick, sapphirenicotine.com, they actually have a calculator that's up there for their product. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so you can say, okay, well, I have a 60 ml bottle and I want to make it a 3 milligram. It tells you which one you need, how many to have, and how many to put in there.
Yep.
So I mean that would be very
Mm-hmm.
easy
And
for the new people, because if they buy a 60 ml bottle, it's at zero. They want 3 milligrams. It's going to be one or half of the 20%, one of the 1 mil 20%, or two of the 1 mil 10%. So I don't know if you can buy it off of
yeah,
that site. I just
and I
went to
mean,
use their calculator.
yeah, and I mean, if anyone wants more information on DIY because you want to learn how to do this or whatnot, I'm not saying do this as a backup plan. It's always cool to learn. Like me, I love learning new things. So like learning stuff like this, Clown, he's in the chat right now. If anyone has any questions on DIY, I'm pretty sure he's more than happy to answer them. Uh, sorry, Clown, if I'm just putting you out there, but I mean, hell, he even brought a whole bag of stuff just to show me how to make coils and how to make liquid to Houston, so that way he could show me because I said I was interested in it. Not because I said, hey, I'm going to start doing this right now. He said, hey, are you interested in doing it? I'm like, yeah, I'm really interested in doing it. He's like, all right, fine. I'm bringing all my stuff. And he had tons of wire. He had his drill. He had a scale. He brought his laptop. He brought tons of liquid, the nicotine. He brought PGVG. He brought flavoring, brought all that just to be able to show me what the process is to make it. Because I've seen it done before, but to actually be able to sit there and do hands on and watch it and everything was really cool. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure he would help anyone else out if you want any information about a calculator like Shane just gave out, or he might even have a different calculator for if you're
Yeah.
actually just want to DIY. And I mean, I know there's a bunch of stuff on like Reddit, and I think there's like
Don't forget
DIY
ELR.
forum or something like that, where they have places where yeah, where they already have all the recipes and it tells you
Mm-hmm.
what percentage and what milligrams of whatever you need to add,
Yeah. And then
milliliters,
Addy
yada
Tooney's another
yada.
good one.
He has all that, and he knows where to turn people to. So I mean, if anyone has, oh yeah, Addy, oh, any questions? I'm not the best on DIY. Hashtag bugs and drugs. That is right. I think I still have it around here somewhere. God, it's somewhere around here. I just brought out the
Hashtag
box.
bugs and drugs. I was supposed to be there, and I am so upset that I didn't get to make
There
it.
it is. Still got the vapor swaggin' sticker on it. But yeah, anyone who wants any question or has any questions about it, me and Shane, we know we always tell you to come ask us. I know Shane's a little bit knowledgeable in it. I'm a little bit knowledgeable, but there's always people out there who are more knowledgeable. So take
Yeah.
advantage of those people. I'm not saying take advantage and constantly call them and stuff like that, but take advantage and ask them questions. Don't just sit back and think, well, what if I could have made the best custard flavor like Uncle Chris? He sat
Mm-hmm.
there and he's like, well, what if I could make it? And he actually went out there and did it, and he made a really good custard flavor. I've tried his peanut butter custard and still waiting on some. So if you're still in the chat there, Overdrip, still waiting on some custards, man. I've been
Yeah, I
trying all
know.
these other custards, and they're pissing me off because they suck.
I want the butterscotch custard there, Overdrip. If you want to, if you feel generous.
Hell, send it to one of us. I'll send it to him. I mean,
Yeah.
we're just saying. We're just saying, man. But I mean, there's always people out there who you can ask. I mean, hell, there's big people in the vape industry on Instagram, Twitter, wherever you want, wherever your social media platform is that you like to use, that do DIY, that do
Oh
make
yeah.
coils. Like
The Fresh
we've
03.
asked, yeah, and like when we were on MTurk or when MTurk was on, I was asking about how to
Mm-hmm.
make a certain kind of coil, and he was like, "Oh, just try this," or "Did you do this?" I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And there's other people like AJ where I've actually personally messaged him, and he was like, "Well, do you need me to get on a video chat with you so I can show you and help you out?" there's so many people who are wanting to help people, and they're not just, you might think of it as, oh, well, I don't want to ask them because they don't want to reveal their secrets. They don't give a shit. They make
Yeah.
everyone makes theirs pretty much the same way. It's just
Mm-hmm.
they want to give. They're like, hey, well, I'll give you a tip to make it to where it makes it easier for you, so that way you're not sitting there struggling and wasting your money trying to make something and it keeps coming out crappy. There's
Right.
so many people now. Like I said, they're not going to give you exact everything, especially on DIY. If it's something that they're making a brand on and everything, they're not going to tell you, well, add this much and that much and this much of this, and then buy this one from this company and buy add that much of this. They might not tell you everything, but they'll put you in the right direction to where you can start making your own stuff and start making good stuff. But hashtag Bugs and Drugs Vapor Swaggins is still the sponsor for this. I'm just waiting for the check to come in so that way I can start bottling it up.
And then
But yeah, I
Addie
mean,
Tooney,
there are so many helpful people.
Addie Tooney posted the link for ELR, and
Mm-hmm.
Clown posted the link for his document that kind of gives you a starting point to what you need if you want to start doing
Oh yeah,
DIY. I actually have that
yeah,
saved on my laptop because I want to start doing it.
yeah. I have his e-liquid one, and I have the one for his coil building one because
Yeah.
I actually used his coil building one, and that's where I pretty much purchased a lot of mine. Or I looked at what he had, and I was like, okay, well, this one looks like it'd be more suited to me, so let me go ahead and buy this one. But yeah, he's got some links in there, so that way, if anyone wants them, you can click on that Google Docs thing, and it has all the links or what the products are dislikes. That way, you can go and try this one or that one. And I mean, I've found a lot of things that helped me out on it. So I mean, if you definitely want to learn DIY, there's tons of people out there who can help you out with that for
Yeah.
sure.
And it's something that, in my opinion, I think we all need to at least learn how to do it, just in case something drastic does happen. That
Yeah.
way, we're not on our own, and we could also help people out. I was on the Discord last night, and we were talking about Massachusetts, and I told the guy, I said, hey, if you need to send something to my address, send it to my address. I'll forward it on to you. They're not going to check something coming from me, the way they would a online vape shop. So, I mean, something like that, and then
Mm-hmm.
if you know of somebody that's wanting to convert, something drastic has happened, a couple of years from now, we actually have that ability then to say, okay, what kind of flavors do you like? Here's my wall of flavors here. You know, look it over. I've got some stuff that I want you to look at. I can mix it for you and let you try it. And then, here's some stuff. All right, here's what I use. Do you like any of this? I can make you some of this. To me, it would be better because that would strengthen our community even more. That way, we would know that we would be dependable, and anybody would could come to you and know that, hey,
Mm-hmm.
if I need something, I know that my family, my vaping community, will take care of me.
Oh yeah. And like I always want to say, even when the vape community wasn't as united as it is now, everyone is really, really helpful. Like I used to ask people all the time, who's the best person to get pre-made coils from? And everyone had their own opinion, and I would just go look and be like, okay, well, this person said Coil Cloud, this person said M-Turk, this person said AJ, this person said Bandit Build. So I'm like, okay, well, let me look at each one. Let me order a coil from, or let me order a pair of coils from each person, and let me see which ones I actually like. That way, I could spread on that information. I could be helpful. Because I mean, like all the mods you see, all the RDAs you see back here, and my no smoking sign you see back here. I mean, I've been through, and hell, even back in the day whenever I used to use stuff like this, the the Magneto from Smock that the button just fell off of because I don't
Huh.
have the spring in it no more, or the magnet, and then stuff like this, the Penny mod, the old copper mod, the Penny mod, and then I still have a Panzer right here. I mean, I went through stuff when it sucked. I still have drill bits, and the only reason I have those itty bitty drill bits is because I had stuff like this, the Nemesis, the Igo L, or the Igo T, where you had to
Yeah.
drill out holes. So I mean, I'm pretty knowledgeable in a lot of it because I've been through the crappy times whenever everything sucked and you used to have to punch your own cardos for a cardo tank and everything. And I mean, I've been through a lot of the crappy things, so I'm pretty knowledgeable in a lot of the things because of that. And I mean, there's stuff like all the stuff I just showed you right there, where I mean, you used to just to be able to get it to where you want your battery to not rattle or to your battery to be able to fire, you had to sit there and you had to adjust that in there, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty long ways to be able to adjust in there. The only thing I could fit in there is my pinky, and I had to spin it to where it would fit perfectly. And if it wasn't fit perfectly, you weren't getting a fire. And if your connection wasn't all the way, or if you unscrewed too much and it wasn't touching your atomizer, then you're sitting there like, well, what the hell? So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
before products were more thought out, that's what I had to work with. And I mean, there's tons of other people who've been through stuff like that. So I mean, hell, any questions, ask any of us, because I mean, I've been through a lot of it. Like, I think all of these, you can still see the little hole that I had to drill out more. And I think a lot of these are the ones I've actually had to drill out the post holes. And I mean, back in the day, whenever that was a thing, that sucked. Like, yeah, you can even see I had to drill out those post holes
Mm-hmm.
just to be able to fit, just to be able to fit a little bit thicker gauge wire through it. I mean, there's so many more people who've had to do this, and we're not all saying, yeah, you're going to be as informative as us, or you're not going to have the same preferences as us, but we could put you on the right path to, okay, yeah, you might like this or you might like that. So I mean, hell, that's one thing I always do is I try out a lot of different stuff,
Mm-hmm.
atomizers, mods. Like hell, one of my favorite mods is this right here, the NATO. You have to adjust the pin, which a lot of people hate, but I still love all my hybrid connection ones like this, and then the Dreamer. And there's a lot of different things in here that I like, but there's stuff that I like this, just simple. A straight tube mod. It has like a weird ball bearing, weird form factor to it, but then it to me it's one of my favorite mods.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have two of them, and I mean there, and like even with flavors, coils, stuff like that. Like Shane, he's tried many of different coils. I've tried many of different coils. I could put you on the right path of what you like, of what I like, and then from there you can pick what you like. Like if you want
Mm-hmm.
super crackly coils, hell, AJ's your man. If you want coils that I think preserve your battery a lot, then I like some M-Turk aliens because I have it in this Blotto and I love his coils in here because I feel like this battery just does not die on me, and they're his regular aliens. If you want some coils that you know are handmade in Texas, Clown's got some coils, and you can use
Mm-hmm.
10% off on that with code Wisdom. And he's got some banging, crackly, flavorful coils. I mean, I even had coils to where they pop a lot, and you think you're gonna get a whole lot of flavor from them because they're super crackly. They're putting out a lot of vapor, but you get no flavor from them because they're not built correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Clown's got some amazing ones. AJ, M Turk, Bandit Builds has got some really amazing ones. And
Ranger
I mean, there's
vapes.
so many people out there that we can help y'all. Oh, and yeah, and then he got some from Ranger Vapes the other day, and they're just super insane. But I mean, it's just all about what you like. There's some people who like the simple round wire. There's some people who just like only Claptons, like his
Yeah.
like what Clown Vapes 3 core Claptons are amazing. If that's all you like is Claptons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Alien and Clapton guy, so I like my Claptons I make. I like the Claptons he makes. I like the Claptons everyone else makes, and then I like the Aliens too from all the other people. And then there's some people out there who do the crazy builds where they do like all the frame staples. They do the half staggereds and everything. So I mean, there's tons of people out there to where you can go to and you can get stuff specified to you. It's just all about finding what works for you, and
Yeah.
that's the same thing that we do with everyone that we try to help out. We try
And
to
then
make sure we get stuff that is more specified to them.
right. And Cloud made a great point. We need to continue fighting no matter what. We just can't try. We can't just try to find a fallback plan. And that's not really what we're saying. We're just pointing out that there are ways if something drastic happens that we have no control over that we all need to have a fallback plan just in case. We're not telling people to stop fighting at all. I would never I would never tell you to stop fighting.
And yeah, I mean that's one thing. Like Clown said, we don't need to have this as a backup plan. Like we don't need to think of it as okay, yeah, we need a backup plan, but we do need it as a backup plan because we need to be in the same boat as the shops. We need to look out for ourselves. Like I
Mm-hmm.
always look out for my shop. I know Shane always looks out for his shops. Everyone looks out for their shops and their favorite builders and e-liquid and mod makers. But we also need to have our own backup plans because if you're not thinking about yourself, then you're not thinking properly because you need to make sure you have yourself covered because if not, then you're not going to have these products. So always have a backup plan. So like I have some PGVG nicotine and some flavorings over here. I have stuff to make coils over here. I have plenty of RDAs. I have plenty of mods. So I'm good and I'm set. But I have a backup plan because I'm looking out for myself. If it comes to a time where, hey, you can't buy coils anywhere, well, I can make my own. If it comes to the time where, hey, you can't buy any mods, well, I have a bunch. If it comes to the time where you can't buy juice, hey, I got a whole lot of stuff I can make my own liquids, and I have a huge stockpile of like 4 or 5 just full of these, just full of liquid. Oh, about to fall out. But I mean, I have like it's we don't want to say yeah you need to have your backup plan for when shit hits the fan because like Clown said we don't need to stop fighting. We need to continue fighting even after the fight is done. We still need to continue fighting, but you still need to think about yourself and have a backup plan for just in case. And if you're someone who doesn't want to DIY, then okay, be that person who just buys a whole bunch of your favorite juice or your favorite RDA or whatever. But make sure you have something there to where you do have a backup plan so that way if something does hit the fan, you know what you can do to be able to survive until this blows past. Because I don't want to see anyone who's like, oh, well, I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't have any extra liquid. I didn't have any extra batteries or RDAs or anything. And then you're screwed and you're back on combustibles. That's the whole thing. We don't want anyone to go back to combustibles. That's the main thing right there.
And that's the thing. We have to prepare the casual vapor for this type of situation, and they need to be
Mm-hmm.
involved in the fight. And we've said that since day one on this show. Uh, we have to find a way to reach those casual vapors and let them know without overwhelming them with information. And I don't remember who was on that day, but we were talking about it. Where, hey, we're glad you're quitting combustibles and now you're vaping, but here's this 8,000 page stack of paperwork you need to familiarize yourself with so you can become an advocate. It's just not going to work that way.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's something that we've talked about many times about how to get people involved. Excuse me. Uh, Slowly, and I think that's a big thing that we have to look into, and we have to continue to be that person and continue to do that research and let people know so that they understand that they have to be involved some way. You don't have to do everything, but you need to do something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we're coming down to the end of it, and I do want to thank everyone in here. What's up, Angel? How are you doing? I should have probably on our way home from work now. But I do want to thank everyone for coming in here. I see a lot of the moderators are in here. Thank Addy Tooney for all the links. Thank Clown Vape for coming in. And I also want to thank him for supporting this channel. Use code WISDOM for 10% off of any of his liquids that he makes or any of his handmade coils that are just bangers. And
And he has a Halloween
if
code
you
right
haven't
now.
tried any clown coils, you definitely need to try them. Ooh,
A Halloween
what's
code.
his Halloween code right now?
It's 15% off, and I think it's code Halloween. We go back up here and look.
Ooh.
I'm pretty
So
sure
make sure
that's
y'all
what he
do
said.
take advantage of those. And if you haven't tried any of his coils or any of his liquids, you're missing out because they are just phenomenal and super flavorful coils, super flavorful liquids. And I've had some of his liquids I've had for quite some time to let them steep, and they just get better and better and better.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you definitely do go try those out. But Shane, any ending words, any last words you have for all the viewers and everyone watching?
Keep up the fight, everybody. That's really all we can say at this point. We're making headway, but that doesn't mean we need to stop. Uh, just we are having some, and I very very minor wins on this, and we want to keep that trend going. We want to show everybody out there that we will not stop and that we are going to fight for our right to vape. Uh, nicotine flavored e liquids or flavored e liquids with nicotine because nicotine has no flavor. But special shout out to my fellow Alabamian heavy metal vapor for him and Johnny with this Ohana. This thing is a flavor machine, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
loving it. So I just wanted to give him a special shout out. And Clown said yes, it's Halloween. 15% off through the 31st on Clown Coils and Mr. J's Vape Solutions. So that's all I
Oh
got,
yeah.
man. What you got?
Same thing. Pretty much keep up the fight. Like you said, we're making headway, and I don't want to say it because every time I say it, let's knock on wood real quick. But every time I don't want to knock on wood too loud. The dog will start barking and shit. But let's keep it the fight. But it looks like we're making headway. It looks like we're having some positive stuff come in. Let's keep it up. And I don't think it's because of the studies and this and that. I think it's because they're seeing they're pissing people off. And politicians, when they piss people off, especially at a time like it is right now where it's getting close to voting for everything, they're like, ah, crap, we really need to reevaluate we need to pick our battles on this one. So hopefully they start looking, hopefully they're not just doing it just because of that. Hopefully they're looking at the proper research and saying, yeah, well, you know what, we kind of screwed up. It does suck for some shops out there where they say, hey, yeah, we screwed up, you can reopen, but it's still a win. Like we said, it does suck, but it's still a win. So just go out there. Let's keep up the fight. Let's keep fighting for what we believe in. Let's fight for our rights and let's do our part. But that's all I got. So, uh, episode 33, we are out. We'll see y'all next week, and we will probably have a weekday with him over there on Mr. Shane Oakley's channel.
Gonna
So stay
try.
tuned for that, and make sure you follow us on our social media. Yeah, make sure you follow us on our social media so that way you can stay informed of when we are going live and everything. I don't think I posted to Instagram. Yeah, I didn't post to Instagram, but I posted all the other social media platforms and everything. But just make sure you stay following us, not for cool pictures or anything, but we do a lot of advocacy reposts and a lot of advocacy posts on our stories and our feeds. And we do a lot of posting of research that's actually found out there of good articles and stuff. So just make sure you're staying involved with that and get on Twitter, y'all. Keep up the fight. Stay on Twitter. Stay going at these people because someone posted the other day saying that, well, have you noticed that a lot of these politicians haven't been tweeting at us no more? And it's, yeah, we have, and that's great. But that means that they're kind of sitting back because they're like, oh crap, we kind of screwed up. So just keep it up because we need to make sure we're in this to win it. We don't need to let up now. This is the time where you need to shift it into fifth gear, and we need to keep going forward because we're not at the end of the fight, so we haven't lost yet, but we just need to keep going forward to make sure that we have this fight in the bag for us and that we get the good regulations and the good sensible regulations that we need to keep all the bad people out, but so that way the good people and the mom and pops and stuff like that keep making their products. But like I said, we'll see y'all later, and Tuesday, weekday wisdom. Let's
Yep.
hope that Shane can get off work on time for that. And then next Saturday or Sunday, we'll have weekend wisdom. So